Disney's Pocahontas. Pocahontas and the Baby Eagle. Summer was a busy time for the Powhatans. It was the season when the men of the village gathered the reeds that grew in the nearby river. While the women wove reed baskets, the men used the reeds to mend the village homes. One day the women began to run out of reeds. Since the men were busy patching homes, Pocahontas offered to go to the river and cut more reeds. On her way to the river, Pocahontas saw Meeko the raccoon stuffing himself with ripe berries. Flit the hummingbird was there too, searching the wildflowers for nectar. Pocahontas invited them to come with her to the river. Flit and Meeko were happy to go. Pocahontas always had wonderful stories to share with them. Pocahontas told her friends about the time her father had sat on a wasp. No one in the village had ever seen a man jump so high, she said, or yell so loudly. Meeko admired his reflection in the water. He wasn't afraid of tiny flying things like wasps. Suddenly, Flit zoomed down and gave Meeko a playful peck on the backside. Splash! Meeko was so startled he fell headfirst into the river. Pocahontas and Flit laughed as Meeko shook off the water. We're all afraid of something, Meeko, Pocahontas said. It seems you're afraid of hummingbirds. When Pocahontas had cut as many reeds as she could carry, she said goodbye to her friends. I'll be back for more reeds soon, she called. By then you should be nice and dry, Meeko. As Pocahontas started back to the village, she noticed a large bird in the sky. Look at that eagle circling over us, she said. He is making sure no harm comes to his nest. After Pocahontas left, Flit buzzed around his raccoon friend, hoping to play another game. But Meeko just shook his paw at Flit. He was still upset at the hummingbird for playing a trick on him. Suddenly something hit Meeko on the head with a heavy thump. The raccoon thought Flit was playing another silly game. But while Meeko rubbed his head, Flit stared in amazement. On the ground in front of him sat a baby eagle crying. Flit and Meeko looked up. There, at the top of a tall tree, was the eagle's nest. They realized the baby bird must have fallen out of the nest. Luckily, he had landed on something soft, Meeko's head. The little bird was not happy to find himself on the ground instead of in his nest. Meeko and Flit wondered what to do. Then Flit had an idea. Flapping his wings as hard as he could, Flit tried to carry the baby eagle back to his nest. But the baby bird was more than twice as big as tiny Flit. The hummingbird could barely lift the eagle off the ground. Meeko chuckled. This was the silliest thing he had ever seen. The baby eagle didn't appreciate being laughed at, so he nipped Meeko on the nose. Then it was Flit's turn to laugh as Meeko jumped behind the tree to get away from the little bird. It wasn't long before the baby eagle began to cry again. While Meeko watched helplessly, Flit darted away. Seconds later, the hummingbird returned with some juicy berries. The little eagle stopped crying for a moment, sniffed at the berries, and turned away. Meeko thought that Flit was being silly again. Eagles didn't eat berries, eagles ate fish. So Meeko headed toward the river to catch a fish. Normally Meeko was very good at finding food, but catching a fish wasn't easy. As the raccoon grabbed a fish from the water, he slipped. Splash! Just then, Pocahontas returned for more reeds. She laughed. I know that raccoons enjoy washing themselves, but 2 baths in one day, Meeko? If Meeko had been able to talk, he would have explained why he was in the water again. Instead, Meeko led Pocahontas to the baby eagle. When Pocahontas saw the unfortunate creature, she understood at once. Oh, you poor little thing! You've fallen out of your nest, she said gently. Don't worry, brave eagle. I'll get you home. Pocahontas was afraid that any human scent on the baby eagle's feathers might alarm his mother, so she carefully cradled the baby bird in a large leaf. Then she began to climb the tall tree. Suddenly a shadow fell across the tree. Pocahontas heard an angry screech and felt something rush at her. She twisted away just in time to avoid the eagle's sharp talons. The father eagle was trying to protect his nest. He didn't know that Pocahontas was only trying to help. He whirled around the tree, trying to chase the girl away. Pocahontas jumped to the ground. She couldn't risk being attacked again and falling with the baby eagle. "How can I climb up the tree?" she wondered. "I'm afraid the eagle might hurt me or his baby." Then the clever girl had an idea. "You and Flit stay with the baby eagle," she told Meeko. "I'll be right back." Pocahontas rushed to the village and searched for a large basket. When she found the right one, she painted a special design on it. "This will do nicely," she said when she had finished. Pocahontas returned with the basket on her back. Meeko and Flit didn't think a basket would protect her from the strong eagle. But Pocahontas picked up the little eagle and began to climb the tree. Sure enough, the great eagle flew at her again, his talons flashing. But when he caught sight of the basket, he screeched in fear and flew away. Pocahontas was able to reach the top of the tree. Pocahontas gently put the baby bird back in his nest. "You'll be safe now," she said with a smile. The baby eagle blinked and gave a grateful chirp in return. By the time Pocahontas reached the ground, the mother eagle had returned with a fish for her fledgling. She had no idea that her baby had been the cause of such great excitement. The mother eagle fed her hungry baby. After he finished his meal, the baby eagle snuggled close to his mother, content in her warm, soft feathers. Meeko smiled as he watched the baby's reunion with his mother. But when he saw what Pocahontas had painted on the basket, his smile turned to shock. Pocahontas laughed at her friend. "You see, Meeko? Everyone's afraid of something. The eagle was afraid of the mountain lion face." Still laughing, Pocahontas waved goodbye, saying, "And if I don't hurry home, I'm afraid I'll be late for supper."